Hey, Cycle Fam, Joe here. Hey, I'm really excited to get back to a new season of the Afterburn podcast. And I just need to get a video intro ready to go because I've recorded an amazing conversation with my friend, Anna Bruce. She is a coworker at Lifetime. She's also a YouTuber who has an incredible indoor cycling channel. You have to check it out. We had a long conversation, deep, meaningful, and a lot of fun. So let me know what you think about this one. This is season 2 of the Afterburn podcast.
Hey, well, welcome to season 2 of the Afterburn podcast. My name is Joe Alvarado, and I have a good friend, a great friend, I'm going to say, Anna Bruce, for episode 1 of season 2. And Anna, have been talking about this a long time. I'm so excited to get back into the podcast space, if you will. I did a whole season 1, as you know, and you've been talking about how you kind of listen to the majority of them. But Anna, thank you so much for being with me today, and overjoyed for you to be my first guest on episode 1 of season 2. So good.
I'm pumped. I am so excited. This means a lot to me. Like I mentioned before, not that you guys have seen this, but I have been listening to Joe's podcast, wealth of information. I love any podcast that instructors do. And when I learned that Joe had one, I've just been savoring each of them and just learning from other peers in my industry. So thank you so much for that welcome and for inviting me. I'm like cheesing so hard over here.
No, this is a long time coming, and I love that you love to learn, and we're going to get into it a little bit later, but I've learned so much from you and Adam, your husband, as it relates to videos and YouTube and all of the above. I mean, it's so cool that the people that are in our space, right? We love to support one another. We love to cheer one another on. And we kind of know that we bring we all gather a unique audience, to ourselves, right? Everybody has their unique people that kind of gravitate towards Anna or towards Joe or towards, Callie or Alina or Jen or all of the group of us, or Kaylee. And it's super cool to be able to not only see that happen, but support one another and learn a little bit more about each other on the road, right? And so on this journey that we're on, this virtual journey, if you will. And I want to pick your brain today. I want people to get to know who you are. I want them to know the in-depth features of what you and Adam do. And I kind of, is that okay to just call you like the duo, the pair?
Yeah.
I know you're the talent without question. You're
I'm just the face.
You're the face of your channel. And I know Adam does all the editing and all the masterful, the YouTube shorts and the sound quality and the video quality is just so good. And I just, can we start there? Like, you guys produce a great product. And we were talking just before we started this, and I wish I knew as much as you already knew coming in to YouTube. And let me just brag on you just for a moment. And then I want you to explain and kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. You and your husband know a lot about cameras, a lot about photography, videography, if I'm saying these things right.
Yes.
You came to my house and you adjusted all of my cameras because they looked pretty crappy. And I always had like issues with my lighting and with all kinds of stuff. And you guys were so gracious to come over and do that. And it was super cool to hang out with you guys here in my little studio. But your product, and let's just talk about that. Your product, meaning your YouTube channel. You came out the gate like with the most professional channel production, sound, video, quality, dogs included, and lights in the background. That's what I think about you. Like, talk to me a little bit about your experience and how it is that you guys you were already ready for a great product.
Well, thank you. What it boils down to is that we're both perfectionists in our own way. I am chaos everywhere in my life but cycle. Indoor cycling, I am organized, I am a perfectionist, and I want things a certain way. For me, quality is very important. Sound is very important. My husband, Adam, who is the other half of the channel, as you explained, he is also a perfectionist, and he does not like bad quality video. He does not like bad quality audio. So when we were designing the space, of course, as you know, I asked you about lighting, and those are the 2 lights that I have in the background. I just wanted to add something fun. I didn't want to necessarily overcomplicate it, but I wanted it to look good. And I wanted it to feel like it was a professional product, not just something that I was slapping together to get more views. As somebody who also does this in person, having those amazing lights and that amazing experience, I wanted to bring it to the virtual space.
I
And
love that.
this is it. This is our home office too, so it's not fully set up, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
just the perfectionist in both of us.
I love it. I love it. And I too, you've been to my space before too. I'm
Yeah.
sitting at my desk where I, study and read and do all the other stuff with my cameras mounted right here facing,
Yeah.
behind
Yep.
me, which is the rest of the studio. And we kind of got a similar setup. It's super fun. Um, I love that you love that, right? And we talked a little bit before the podcast, just kind of warm up the conversation. And we both love quality. In fact, how I met Kaylee, I don't know if you know the story, but Kaylee Cohan, she's her and her husband Jason, another duo, another dynamic duo, right? uh, very professional at what they do. And the way that I met Kaylee was during COVID. She was obviously already doing pretty well on YouTube with her cycling channel, and I loved how it sounded. And so I messaged her. I think I just left a comment on one of the videos and I said, "Hey, what are you using? Because I value great sound, a great mic, a great production." And I think we speak the same language when we say that. And she was so generous to say, "Hey, I use this mic, and kind of the setup." And that was our introduction to how we met. And so, and if you're listening, Kaylee, I already talked to Jason about having you on, so I'm calling you out right now. You gotta get on this season. Anyway, we got to make a YouTube short out of that and tag her. Okay, all right. And so she told me they were super generous. That's how we developed a relationship and started to, and they've been so much help to my channel as well. But here's the thing. We value quality, right? We value great sound, great video, but we also said that sometimes we're just not perfect on camera, right?
So yeah.
And there are times you told me you're getting ready to celebrate 1 year on YouTube next month,
I
and
know.
talk to
Can't believe it.
me. It's so cool. And you're way ahead of where I was a year in. So props to you guys.
Thank you.
I don't want to overtake the conversation because I want you to know, I want to hear from you. But
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit about, while we value audio, great video, sometimes we're just real and we make mistakes and cameras shut off and we say the wrong thing, or I hop off my bike because my towel keeps falling off, right? Or my wire keeps, whatever. Talk to me about that side of it, because I know the value you have, but talk to me about that. And about your anniversary. Tell me a little bit more about that too.
So let's talk about the realness part. I've watched a lot of videos from a lot of instructors, Kaylee included. And while everybody does have a personality, what I wanted to make sure in my videos as an instructor is that I was real. And I'm not saying that you guys aren't real and that the YouTube verse isn't real. What I mean by that is I wanted it to feel raw, right? Like almost unrehearsed, and like that feeling that I'm right there with you in a sense, and not just rehearsing a script. Or I can rehearse scripts well. I've been teaching for a very long time. I've got my cues down to a science, but just sharing like awkward stories or talking to Tiny Dog on camera, or like my other camera just going offline and be like, well, it is what it is. Like, here we go. This is it. I really wanted it to feel personable. And by sharing all these little stories and the quirks about my personality, I feel that makes me stand out in my own right. I don't want to just be somebody else on YouTube trying to make videos and burning out 2 years from now. I want to be somebody that's like, hey, she's got those weird stories about her dad when he walked in, listening to The Offspring and getting in trouble. Like I talk about all those things on my rides, like super awkward, but fun. Like it's just me. And that's exactly how I am in person as well. Like what you see on camera, you get in person with maybe a little bit more energy because I have the room to bounce off of. But it's just me. This is who I am.
Well,
So
Go ahead, please.
So that's me. And then going into the anniversary, first of all, I can't believe that it'll be a year, December 14th. Not that I've been counting. Also, the fact that my channel is almost at 1,000 subscribers, like thank you to each and every one of you. Honestly, huge surprise. I do have another channel with Adam that we started before this during COVID. And that took us like over 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. And that's literally because we begged every single person that we knew to follow. I was like, I have 1,000 friends on Facebook. I'm going to DM every single person
I
to
think
follow
Aspen
our channel.
followed your channel too. My dog, she has a channel, so we were helping you out. Kid.
Thank you.
No,
It was one of those things, literally, I was begging everybody to follow. And when I started this channel, and what I learned from that was how much it hurt us because those weren't the people meant for us. And it wasn't allowing YouTube to push our content out to the people who really wanted to learn and see travel content. So it actually, by doing that, we shot ourselves in the foot by like literally having our channel unmonetized for 4 years. Like it took us 4 years to monetize.
Yeah.
This time I was like, I'm going to let YouTube do its thing and I'm not going to DM a single person. If you have an indoor or a stationary bike and you want to do indoor cycling workouts with me, great, follow. But I'm not going to ask you to follow. And that's been a much better strategy.
yes.
But
Yes.
going into the anniversary, right, I deviated.
No, you're
We're turning
fine.
1 year. And that was my first
Love it.
60-minute ride. I'm
Yes.
super excited. It is, it's got parts of work or blocks of work followed by recoveries. It's got a little bit of choreography, a little bit of interval work. It's rhythm because we follow the music. So it serves or it caters to the different kinds of riders that I have. I have some interval based riders and then I have some riders that love dancing on a bike. So
Yeah.
it feeds both of them.
I love it. I love
I'm
it.
super excited.
There's so much to unpack there because you started about talking about just being real on the camera, and one of the things that I think is a superpower of yours is me. I tend to talk a little fast sometimes, and I'm trying to get it out. But when you tell a story or when you're giving a cue, you do it very with a what's the word I'm looking for? With a cadence that keeps me engaged, right? And it's not super fast. You're not like on caffeine, like I don't know if you're on caffeine, but you're just like it just comes out like, and we're gonna add a little bit more, and you're gonna love. Like it's just like a cadence that like keeps you in the moment. You do really well at that, and I love. I learned from especially your YouTube shorts. When you have your moments, either the story or you're about to lead us into. It's really good. It's really good. And it's real and it's raw, right? And
Thank you.
those are the things, yes, absolutely. Those are the things that people could sniff out, something that is fake from a mile away. You don't even have to be a cycling fan. You turn on, one of our videos and then, they're just like, saying stuff to say it or whatever. But we do value, authenticity, right? And it's so true. We want to connect with people. We want to connect. You do such a great job doing that. As far as your anniversary, like congratulations, first of all. That's super cool. I know you guys have put in so much work. And while you are a perfectionist, your authenticity comes through. And it's pretty obvious that why people are attracted to your channel. And if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed to Anna's channel, all the information is in the description below. You need to subscribe right now if you're a rider, right? And again, you mentioned something that's super important. I want to dialogue a little bit about this.
Yeah.
And that is, the whole algorithm and the YouTube, what hurts and what doesn't. Because you had mentioned, hey, we could have all kinds of people like subscribe, friends and stuff. But one, are they actually going to watch it? Two, do they just watch it just to give you a view and then you have low retention rate, right? Three, like there's so much that happens that people may not be familiar with that happens online, And so talk to me a little bit about your knowledge of YouTube and what actually happens, because I have my thoughts on it, but I would love to hear your thoughts on this whole idea of retention, why subscription, subbing is important. And actually being on a bike when you watch the video is even more important. There's a lot there. I know.
There's a lot. I'm not going to say that I'm the YouTube queen by any means. I'm still trying to figure it out. I have one video. It's my Tiesto video. It's gotten like 6,500 views. I have no idea why. I literally do not know why, and I can't figure out how to replicate it. YouTube
It's a
just
good
took it on.
video. It's a really good
I know,
video. Okay.
but it's just wild. It was like our second video, and it just popped off, and it's still popping off. It's my most successful video. So it's a 30-minute Tiesto ride. So if you know who that is, super baller video. And Adam went all into the editing. We have 2 videos like this with footage from concerts, which I'm not entirely certain if that was supposed to be in there legally, but whatever.
Did it get demonetized or anything? Did it?
I'm not monetized yet, so it's just there.
Okay, but did it give you any warnings or anything?
No. No, because we pay for all the music licenses. It's just we have footage from a concert that we went to. So it's all in there. And then we did a second one with Subtronics, Excision, and Wooly. Same thing, concert shots. Super proud of it. Anyways, that's that. So as far as YouTube and what does well, you got to look at your videos, right? When you go into your videos and you see the ones that are the most popular, you try to just keep replicating those videos. For example, I did a rock ride and it is doing really well. People love it. I've gotten great feedback. So I was like, great, I'm going to do another one. I've got a 35-minute coming out this weekend, rock ride. So you just listen to the feedback and see what does well. And it's really interesting because sometimes a video just won't do well in the beginning. You're like, okay, well, that sucks. Anyways, moving on. What can I learn from this? And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's like, boop, it just starts growing.
Yes.
It's wild. So it's the interactions perhaps from people, or the testing of the thumbnails that YouTube does, because you can upload several thumbnails and then YouTube shows it to different people. Title, or all of a sudden people are searching for that, or other videos are showing it. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into it that I don't fully understand, but when a video does well, I try to make another one.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
No, you're absolutely right. On the flip side to that, and I want to keep with this train of thought, because what you're saying, we both live, right? And anybody who's in this space, we live this, what thumbnail looks better, what option, what test that we want to do, what, description, all of the above. But one of the things that I think, and this is just my thought, and you tell me what you think, because we are fitness channels, if you will, the temptation for everybody, including myself, when a subscriber of ours who follows us sees that we put out a new video, they're in their car, they're in the morning, they're grabbing coffee, they press play because they just want to see what they have in store for another time, which I totally get. But how do we get around that hurting retention time, if you will? Because it looks like they weren't interested and they exited after 2 minutes, if that makes sense. Like, is that like an unfair thing for fitness channels? I guess is what I'm asking. What do you think about that? I feel like it's unfair. It probably
happens to all the channels, I think. And I don't know how the algorithm works as far as this, but we're guilty as charged. What we'll do is we'll play a video for like 30 seconds and then we X out of it because we want it in our history. Yes. So then what we do is we go into our history and they're like, cool, now we're ready to watch the video, because we just didn't want to save it to a watch later or whatever. Sure. Like, because 90% of the times we're actually watching it on the Roku. So it's kind of hard to save things. Sure. So we'll just watch it and then come back to it later. So I don't know if YouTube is tracking that and saying, okay, they came back to the video and then they watched the full thing, bonus points for you, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's going to be impossible to get people to not click play, because if they swipe that notification, maybe that's even worse for your channel. Like they were just like not interested at all, versus like, oh, I watched it and then I came back to it. And then you're going to have the people who are just not interested. That is what it is.
Well, that's definitely a question we're going to have to get the answer to.
I know, we're going to have to research that.
I do know, like, I subscribe to YouTube Premium and it does send back through my feed, pick up where you left off. And that doesn't happen if you have the free version. And so there's got to be something there that happens, that doesn't count against us, and I mean us, fitness, because you technically kind of have to be on a bike or ready to work out if you're going to, do the whole thing. Whereas a podcast or something, of that nature, you could be doing anything and not even watching, but listening, and I feel like there's a little bit of an unfair, thing going on with fitness channels. It's my little, but I don't know. I have no idea if that's
I
true.
mean,
If yeah,
your channel has been doing so well that I think there's definitely something that you're absolutely doing right. And maybe that's not hurting you as much. What we have to remember is we're not in the pandemic times anymore where people are working out from home. And the fact that we do get as many people working out with us online is such a huge blessing. And it's something I'm truly grateful for, because with all of these amazing studios and fitness studios and places like Lifetime where you and I work, like they have options to work out in person where we know the energy is just there. And they still make time to work out, whether it's 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or the full 60 with us online. And that is something that I don't take for granted and I'm super grateful for. And just seeing the
yeah,
growth of your channel tells me that there's still an audience online who is interested, and like you're doing something right, because I looked at your metrics and you are like, sorry, Alina, you're like are about to pass Alina. So you are doing something right.
well, I that means the world. And I think and we talked a little bit because we text all the time. All the cycling
Yeah.
people, we text each other because we want to know what's happening.
I know.
It was kind of crazy. One evening, I had uploaded an AI video of a bike kind of,
Oh yeah.
in rain, or I can't remember what it was. And I kid you not, I kept refreshing it, and I was showing my wife. We were watching football or something, and I'm like, "What the heck?" Like I just uploaded this 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden, like it just got sent through some kind of, everybody saw it and subscribed to it. Now that was great because it just kind of had a little burst, right?
Right.
But are those people interested in actually riding with me later? That's the other thing, that's the other side to YouTube. Hopefully. But I do appreciate that. I have seen, the amount of hours go up and things like that incrementally. And it's humbling to your point. I, you know, the amount of people, and let me back up a little bit. There will always be a need for what we do.
Yes.
Always, always,
I
for
like
a
to believe so.
variety. No, there is, and I'm gonna give you a few examples, and you tell me a few more that you could think of.
Yeah, of
But
course.
there's definitely people who don't live near a gym, right? Maybe they
Correct.
live, in the mountains or somewhere just far away. Some people who have small children and they can't get away for the season, and their only escape to work out is when the kids go down and they're sleeping or they're at school, whatever it might be, and they have their time, right? There are people who travel for work who need
Yes.
this. There are people who actually go to the gym, but their time to go to the gym, there are no in-person classes. So they go to the
Correct.
gym, but they pull out their cell phone and they watch us at the gym.
Yep.
I've actually, you feel like you've arrived. I felt like I arrived. I'm gonna tell you, I was at work and I'm walking through the fitness floor and I see somebody riding to one of my videos right there. And I
That
was
is
like,
amazing.
I asked, her name was Leslie. I said, "Hey, can I do a video
Can I
right
take a
now? Because
selfie?
this is super cool."
Yeah,
And
that is
it was funny. She
amazing.
goes, "But," and she knew I worked there, to be
Right.
fair. So it wasn't like a one
Still
in
though, that's so
1,000
dope.
chance, but it was super cool, right? So I did a video. Um, Anyway, there's all of the above reasons. There are people who just do better on their own, and they're
Yeah,
simply driven that way. They're wired that way. Where I'm gonna get a really good workout in my head with my headphones on my own in my basement, in my garage, in my bedroom, wherever it is, and they're gonna
right.
do it. So, what do you are there any other scenarios? I know
Yes.
there's probably a
Yeah.
bunch, but talk to me.
Um, the people who are scared to walk into a class, they may have access to a facility that has indoor cycling, but they are, we've all been here. I am to take a cycling class. I'm out of shape. I need to get in shape to do 45 minutes or 60. But I follow this YouTube channel that does 10, 15, 20-minute rides. I can do that in the privacy of my home where nobody else is watching and nobody else is judging me. And I get to be strong and I kind of get to be my own self on a bike. So those individuals as well. Anybody, like you said, moms who need those short rides, like I even have moms that come to my class who leave early because kids and stuff that they need to go and take care of.
Yeah.
So being able to offer those shorter rides that they can ride when the kid is napping or before they wake up or like in that period where they're in school or whatnot. It's so valuable.
Yes.
And then the last one is what happened to me and some of my other coworkers. There are certain gyms that are getting rid of indoor cycling. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But it's true. And there's a big chain here. I'm not going to call them out on your podcast, but they've gotten rid of indoor cycling altogether to replace it with a strength product, which I fully support because that's what was missing, but I don't support getting rid of indoor cycling.
Yeah.
So those are the two big ones that I can think of.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you can give your reasoning. And we want to be clear. We love you. We love you. You are I call them our cycle fam, my cycle family.
Yes.
We all have like our little tribe names, if you will. And we love you so much. In fact, we wouldn't continue to record videos if it wasn't for you, the people who are watching this. We just wouldn't do it. But you keep riding with us, right?
I wanted to interject with that as well. Not interject, but add to it.
Sure.
After much coercing from my husband, one of the reasons why I decided to do indoor cycling videos is I wanted to be able to touch more people than I could physically see on a weekly basis through my videos. So it was a way of me being able to help other people be fit and do this thing that I love because I fell in love with indoor cycling. I am not consistent in any other modality of exercise except for indoor cycling, which I've been doing for mostly the last 10 years. So I wanted to share that with other people, and not everybody's going to be able to come to Denver, to Lifetime, to some of the other places that I've worked. But if you have a phone, which most of us do, and most of us have access to free YouTube, you can totally pull up one of my videos and work out with me. Like you don't have to pay for it. It's there. You hit play, boom, let's go.
Yes. I love that. And one of the cool dynamics too, I've had the privilege and the honor of having people who were only subscribers come and take an indoor class like one time because they were either in town or they were across town and they came to visit. And the dynamics of seeing and meeting somebody. And then the other side to that is I have people all the time say, hey, I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks. We're going on vacation. We're going to visit, or we're leaving for the winter. Can you remind me what your channel is? Because I want more of you, And so the opposite happens, the people who are in person, they know you and they want to see you on the screen. So it's really, really, really cool. But, all that to say is we can't say thank you enough, right? To everybody who's watching, whether you're an instructor or just one of our subscribers that are part of our family, we love you. We care so much about you. This is a real space. We're real people who really take a lot of time and effort into not only producing a great product for you, being authentic about it, but continuing to evolve in how good we do and what we produce. I mean, that's the way our minds are, right? Like we just trying to keep getting better. We see one thing, we're like, oh, I got to do that, and so it's super cool. There's so much to talk about in this on this podcast, and I want to pack a little bit more in. Can you rewind the tape a little bit and tell me a little bit about, I want to do two things. I want to, first of all, rewind the tape and talk about how you got into indoor cycling and why you, like me, it's been the most consistent. Because for me, it's been the most consistent for 18 years. It's the thing that I have not failed. It's not failed me, and I haven't failed it for that long, while I wasn't as consistent, to your point, on other modalities of working out. Like I could go from strength to hit to blah, 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 all over the place, but cycling, I keep coming back. How did you fall in love with indoor cycling? And tell us a little bit about it.
I love this question, and I hope y'all grab your coffees here because your girl's going to talk for a hot minute.
Let's go.
So I started working at a gym in Virginia. That's where I moved from. I live in Colorado now, and I was broke as anything. I was broke. I couldn't afford a gym membership. And so I went to the gym next to my house, which I thought was really nice, and I applied for a front desk job. I was coming off being a wedding photographer. I decided to close my business. It was just taking such a huge toll on my body. And we were thinking about moving cross country, but it wasn't anything set in stone. So I didn't want to get like a government job or something that required some more longevity, like training, etc. I just wanted something simple. I just wanted to afford a gym membership. Okay. I was overweight. I was very unhealthy, and I wanted to not have to pay for it and make a little money on the side. And that way my husband could also have a gym membership. So I applied, and the front desk operations manager, he literally looks at my resume and he's like, "You are way overqualified for this job." But he's like, "I've got a good feeling about you. So I'm going to give this job to you." And that his name is Franz. And I love him because he set off such a huge path for me that he has no idea how he changed my life with that decision. But I started working. It was One Life Fitness in Virginia, which I love that gym. Busy, busy, busy. I loved how busy it was. I was the 5 a.m. to 12 shift. So I knew all my 5:30 people, my early morning seniors who came in for their classes, my military moms, everybody. Like, it was just, I loved it.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always noticed is the indoor cycling classes were always packed. And I'm like, what is that all about? Like, why does everybody want to go on a bike that goes nowhere in a room? Like, that looks hard. And it took me a while to have the courage to try an indoor cycling class, but it was so popular. I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try this class. So I tried my first one. It was good. My butt hurt because it was these seats that we have on the Stages bike. They are rocks. And I'm still not used to them, but I was like, okay, that was really hard. My butt hurts. I don't know. But I'm going to give it another shot because this is my rule. I always try things twice. I try to give each instructor 2 goes before I decide that I like them or don't like them. So I decided to try another instructor on Tuesday nights. And I think her name was Sarah. She was, oh my God, this girl played the music that I love. She played the EDM that I love. She was like a rhythm cycle, but there was no choreography at this gym at the time. But she did fun moves. She did like isolation. She did climbs, sprints, like the whole 9, but she played the music that I love. So I was hooked. Tuesday nights, Adam and I was our indoor cycling night. And we did that for about 6-8 months, something like that, until we moved to Colorado. And so we moved to Colorado, and I started working at TrueFit front desk. Same thing, same shift. Got the job right away because openers are very hard to come by at gyms, like a good opener. And I am a reliable lady. I am there.
Let's go.
And but the energy wasn't the same. The gym was kind of slow. The classes were kind of dead, just all around, not just indoor cycling. And the vibe wasn't there. So actually, I stopped taking indoor cycling classes. It just didn't look like it was fun anymore. That's where I met Holly, though. She works at Lifetime up north in Westminster. She was one of our instructors. So we built this relationship with each other, and we stayed friends even after I left TrueFit. I took a little side quest and I worked in real estate for 3 years. But during that time, I joined Prestige Fitness in Arvada. And for 2 years, I walked past that cycle studio. And everybody in Colorado looks different than Virginia. Here, they look like they are getting ready for a triathlon. They dress the part, they ride the part. It was, for someone like me who was overweight and unhealthy, it was very scary. But for 2 years, I walked past the room and I was like, I miss indoor cycling. Like, I really want to try it again. But those people look scary. Like, I don't know about this. And one day I was like, you know what? To hell with it. I'm going to try the class. Let's see where it goes. And same thing. I tried various instructors. I tried them a couple of times, and then I found the ones that I loved. So Monday night cycle with Mindy was RPM, and then Friday morning with Kat was kind of like a blend of whatever she felt like doing. And it was just perfect. I loved both of their classes so much. I fell in love with it. I rode with them religiously for 2 years. And then literally in the same week, both of them had like health reasons for being out. And we did not have the best subs. We had like one sub and she was not great. She was not great at all. And I was like, I can wake up at 5:30 and teach a class. Like, I can totally do this. I've been writing this for 2 years or whatever. And I tell Adam, and I'm like, I think I'm going to get certified. And he's like, you should. I'm like, but nobody's going to like my music. So I don't think I'm going to do it. And he's like, do it. He said to me, if they don't like you and they hate your classes, Anna, you can literally just quit. But he's like, you will never know unless you try. So scared out of my mind, I signed up for the RPM certification, which is Les Mills. So if you guys have heard of Body Pump, it's the same umbrella of programming where they give you the music and they give you the choreography. So me being me, I got certified. It was probably one of the hardest things that I've done because I know nothing about music. I know nothing about counting. I know nothing about nothing. Like this was a foreign language and I had to present this 45-minute class memorized from head to toe on video with live participants, which was very
And this
challenging
was your
because
test in or
yeah,
test
this
out?
was my test. This was my certification
Okay.
to be able to teach a
But
Les
but
Mills
you
class.
loved music already, like EDM
Oh,
was kind of
yes.
a genre. It was just
I like
putting it together.
everything.
Was that
Yeah.
like the challenge for you initially?
The challenge for me was just looking at their notes and being like, what the hell is a quarter count? Or what the hell is 3/4 of the, I'm like, I don't understand 3/4 of a beat. I'm like, what is 128 BPMs? I don't understand
Okay.
what any of this means. This is a foreign language to me. I'm like, 3/4 of the pace. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to memorize it. I'm going to ask Mindy. She knows how to teach RPM. I'm going to ask her to decipher what all these things mean. And she did. She helped me. And I just memorized it all. I'm like, I didn't understand it, but I just memorized it because I could do.
Sure.
And I became certified. It was super hard to do because getting a gym to let you film to their live participants was like a huge liability issue. So I found a place in downtown Denver through somebody who was in my class. She let me take over her class while she was there writing, making sure that I wasn't doing anything negligent. And I was able to film my video and get certified. So I became a Les Mills RPM instructor. And then I realized I'm like, I need some creative freedom. So I got my actual indoor cycling cert, and mine's it's a very small cert, but it's what I needed to let me teach freestyle cycle. So I became a cycle instructor. And then being the typical Anna that I am, there were no openings at my gym at Prestige. So what do? I go and I harass the group fitness instructor lead. I'm like, hey, I just got certified in RPM. I'm not necessarily looking for a class, but I know you're short on subs. I can teach cycle and I can teach RPM. And I just kept harassing her on the gym floor until she finally had no choice but to say, okay, fine. And then Saturdays, they just couldn't get anybody on the schedule consistently. Like classes came on, then they came off. They came on, they came off. And I was like, I can do Saturday anytime. Just tell me. Yeah. And that's how I got my first indoor cycling class was Saturday mornings at 7:15. And because I knew absolutely everybody at the gym had been working out there for 4 years, boom, I was like, come to my class. And that's really where I just kind of started growing. I befriended some people on Facebook that were other gym employees. And then when COVID happened, I was also working at 24 through somebody that I knew. I was a floating sub. When COVID happened, I was laid off from 24 because I didn't have 2 classes on the schedule. Yeah. But I still had my Prestige job. But I'm one of these people, I like to have 2 things going just in case one of them doesn't work out. Sure. And in that moment, somebody that I knew was like, hey, this new gym just opened and I'm looking for some fresh blood. I'm going to hire you. Do you want this job? And I was like, heck yeah, I do. I'm like, when do you want me to audition? She's like, nope, you're hired. When do you want to teach? And I was like, sweet. So that's how I got my other job at Vasa. And I worked there for four years. And it was hard because I worked there right through COVID. I didn't know anybody. Yeah. I would have 1 to 3 people on my bikes. Members would steal my slots. I had 8 slots and they'd steal them because they wanted to sneak off onto the floor to lift. Wow. So they'd steal my cycle slots. And then my poor people who actually wanted to take indoor cycling couldn't get into my classes. So it was blood, sweat, and tears for a good year. There were a lot of tears shed. When a new club opened up for Vasa further into Westminster, I was asked to go audition. And I got a class there. I played a baller Steve Aoki song that got me hired. And Wednesday night was my thing. And then I grew those classes to, almost capacity every single week. Yeah. It was such an amazing time. And then like everything else, the winds of change were kind of blowing in. I knew that Lifetime was being built by my house because I saw the chain link fence with Lifetime Realty and I Googled it and I was like, I'm going to work there when that place opens. And I knew a trainer, actually Holly, and then I knew another trainer in Westminster and then another trainer. And I was like, hey, can you put in a good word with the lead with me? I will apply for this job. And I got asked to come in for an audition and I just blew my audition out of the water, not because I was actually good, but because I was prepared and I speak Spanish. So because I was prepared and I spoke Spanish, I got the job. And
Well,
so
you
that's
had
how I ended up.
experience, Anna. You are good. You are good.
The thing is like under tension and nerves like that, I like definitely fibbed my choreography on that bike because I couldn't figure out the bike, my settings, I couldn't
Sure.
everything. And I was just like literally auditioning to a row of people sitting on the black wall. Like it was awkward as anything. But thankfully my lead saw my potential and hired me. And so I've been working at Lifetime ever since.
Andy's pretty awesome, huh?
I love
She's
Andy.
good. Yeah.
She's such a cool person. But so here I am. I just never thought that I would have ended up working at Lifetime and having a YouTube channel. But that was, the span of about 10 years of my life condensed into about 10 minutes of talking.
No, I love that. Thank you for all the details and everything. I love everybody that I've had on the podcast have shared their story and how they got started, and it makes us even more real. Of the emotions that we have, the insecurities that we felt along the way, and the awkward moments, and the tough times, and the potentially you had to wear a mask when you were teaching over
Oh
COVID,
gosh,
and
yes.
I remember almost choking on the the paper masks at first, and then they had the holes, and then they had the all that stuff. And but those, if we're honest, those shaped us, right? And those gave us that really that foundational to kind of that foundation to kind of deal with anything that gets thrown at us, because we've
Yeah.
been there. And not only are we getting reps on the bike and reps in front of people and reps with music and reps with being in the studio, despite the fact that there are only a few people there and there's some awkward situations and seasons and all of the above, it's really molding and shaping uh what we do and the craft that we love so
Yes,
much. And to me, I love these
absolutely.
stories. Yeah, I love these stories because um I want people on this channel. Part of my heart is for the subscribers that ride with us all the time, is to kind of hear the story behind the class, the story behind the passion, the story behind what we do. And that I feel like that connects us even at a deeper level to our audience. I had one subscriber reach out recently, and she said, "Hey, I remember you talking about some of the hard times you went through during your process of getting into indoor cycling, but I can't find the video." And I couldn't even find it. It was me on another podcast. I thought it was on
Oh
my
wow.
channel, so I was like going through my channel trying to find out where I was and what story she was referring to. And I'm like, man, I think it's this one. She goes, no, it wasn't. You said this. And later on, she found it on another channel. And I'm like, man,
Got it.
like it was just so meaningful her to know. And she said, her name is Helen, by the way. I know she'd be okay with me saying this. And she said, I just appreciate how real you are, and how you're not afraid to just say what happened and how you got into
Right.
this. And it was super cool. It's just like chasing down a video. And I
I
hope,
love that so
yeah.
much.
And I hope people do that, with you, understanding your story, your grit, your grind, your passion, your love, your commitment. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on about
Thank you.
what you do, why you do it, how you do it, with who you do it, like all of the
Right?
above, and the relationships that you built along the way. It's just a beautiful story. So your
Thank you.
intentionality, your overcoming, anxiety. I mean, come on, like there was a lot there. There was a lot there. I'm so grateful that you stuck with it. I really am.
Thank you. And there are a couple of things that I wanted to add, not necessarily to my story, but when I became an instructor, there were a few things that were very important to me. My why, you would say, is number one, I never wanted to be somebody on the podium that you couldn't relate to. Like, I didn't want to be somebody on this high podium looking down on you as some fitness professional. I always wanted to be the instructor that was like, I'm basically you with a certification. Like, there's nothing different between me and you. I just happened to go and test out so that I could do this. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to be the instructor that I wish that I had. There were plenty of times where I'd request a song and it was like, no, I'm not going to play that. Or like, yeah, sure, I'll play that. And then I never heard it. So I wanted to, that's not to say that I'm going to like play every single song, but I try to make classes for the people who are in front of me. And if there's something that they like, I try to incorporate that into my classes. And number three, I just wanted it to feel fun. Like, I don't want it to feel like, oh God, I got to sit on this bike for 60 minutes
Yeah.
and do all of these really hard intervals and just grind it out. Sometimes we
Yeah.
grind and it's true, but like, let's have fun doing it.
Yes. No, absolutely. I mean, and it truly is, you develop relationships and I've told this story a few times and I'll be real quick about it, but, and I want to hear a story before we finish today. I know you have 1,000 of them. We all do. Right. But you get to know people, right? You get to know people.
Yeah.
And there was a gentleman that came in, for a couple of years. He was in the front row, same bike number 3. Like I'll never forget, and always riding with his head down. And even though I would say, hey, keep your head up and posture, it wasn't that he didn't care about his posture. He was just sad. He was just
Yeah.
like in a dark time of his life. And one day, some gal comes in next to him whom he invited. And all of a sudden it was just like, and, it was like, forget what you're saying, Joe. I got somebody that I'm interested in coming in with
Right.
me. And long story short, they asked me to do their wedding a year after, and
I love that.
got to do their wedding. And during the one of the toasts after the wedding was over, we were at the reception, and he's like thanking everybody, and he goes, "I got to thank one more person," and he said, "Joe," and he looked over at me, and I'm like getting
Aw,
ready to eat a
yes.
big old piece of cake, and he's like, you helped change my life, the direction, because you gave me, a reason. You kept me healthy. You kept me, all the above. And I was just saying, man, that's why we do it. That
Yeah.
there's so much. So I want to hear something a little bit later. Maybe you could share something like that before we close. But thank you for sharing your history. I want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about your Spanish. I know that you talked to me a little bit about
Yes.
why you speak Spanish, how that is that when you learned it, how you grew up, and you have a few. I'm not sure how many classes you have in Spanish, but there's such a need for that. So tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I would love to. So I currently have 2 Spanish rides. And when I mean by Spanish rides, I don't mean like just Latin music. I mean, I speak Spanish and it's not AI. And I think in one of my rides, I hinted towards somebody who was using an AI overlay. And I was like, this is a real Spanish class.
I
because
saw that.
you know me,
Yeah.
I'm very to the point sometimes. And I'm kind of,
Me
anyways, that's my
conozcas,
personality. Me conocen.
Yeah.
So I speak Spanish because I was born in Venezuela, and I know that my name, Anna Bruce, does not sound Latin at all. I get it. I've lived with it my whole life. It's all good. But I was born in Caracas, and I lived there till I was 14. I moved to the US. My first language is Spanish. Now, I speak English better now than I do Spanish because I've just lived in the US for so many years that English is my bread and butter. It's what I speak. And then Spanish is what I speak on the side to my friends who are Spanish speakers only at the gym, and they keep me relatively fluent. I'm not saying that I'm the most polished Spanish speaker on camera. I literally have made up all the terms on I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, this is what I say in English. What do I say in Spanish? And I just go with it. But I have 2. And the first one, I thought it was going to do really well. And it was so slow to pick up for about 6-ish months. I think recently in the last couple of weeks, it's really started to take off. So I'm like, okay, so there is a need for it. So in the beginning, I was like, well, it's not doing that great. I don't know if I want to invest the time because I have to buy new licenses and redo the music so that everybody feels included. And I just wasn't super into it. But then I started getting some messages and I'm like, okay, all right, I got you. Yeah. So I started doing more, and hopefully I'll be able to bring some more rides in the new year. And I know I said that before, but I truly mean it.
Yeah, well, it's so much work, but at the same time, I could see that being really huge because there is a need. I mean, there's a need in for what we do in general. There are a lot of just fitness channels, that do strength and high intensity and this and that. But you and I know as we dive deeper into this world that there's not a ton of cycling channels. There's not. I
Yeah.
mean, if you had to guess, how many in your experience, how many would you say there is? If you just a ballpark guess.
I mean, if we're talking about the ones that are consistently putting out a good product, let's see, there's you, there's me, there's Jen, there's Spin Friends, there is Alina, there's Kaylee. So that's at least, and
And Kelly as well.
Kristen.
Kristen.
Kristen, Kelly. Yes, Kelly.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So that's at least 8 that I would consider quality channels. Then there's a lot of I'm propping my phone with low light, bad quality, with the music playing on a little speaker, and me not having a microphone. I've seen a lot of those pop up, and I've gotten some DMs from those channels on how they can make their channel better. And I'm always happy to answer those questions as best as I can. So all in all, I would say if there's even 50, that's a lot. Like probably
Yeah.
closer to like 20,
I would. I
maybe.
was actually going to say the same thing. Maybe 20 at most, and I would agree.
But like
Maybe half of those are right
quality, I'd say 10 or less.
on the same page. Exactly. Exactly. And so we live in a big world, and so that means
Yep.
that what you do and what we do matters, and especially when it comes to Spanish. So I
Yeah.
totally like. I hope that really continues to take off for you. I know that YouTube's going to find your algorithm on those Spanish speaking videos at some point. It's gonna say, oh, let me spit it out here. Let me do that, and it's gonna do its thing, just like it has been. So I love it. Thank you for sharing that. We talked
Yeah.
about we also talked a little bit about wanting to share music licensing, and I
Yes.
shared some of my history with that and my rebellion, if you will. And I'll start by saying this: and you fill in the blanks. Talk to me about
Yeah.
what you know and what you've learned. But there's a handful of websites where we as creators can either get for free, completely for free, or pay a monthly subscription. And
Correct.
I do have an indoor cycling certification course that if you're listening and you want to get certified, where I keep adding to the list of websites as a resource for instructors. And so some of them are paid, some of them are free. But all that to say is we have to pay, for our music, whether that be a
Hmm.
monthly subscription or whether that be per song, such as a website like Licked. And
Yep.
so one of the barriers, I guess, for me to entry into YouTube was my resistance. And I'll tell you a little bit about my story when I started.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about like Epidemic Music or Music Bed or um, artist list, or what is it called? Art list.
Art list,
Art list.
music bed,
Yeah, all of
epidemic,
those. Yeah,
NCS.
all of those. I didn't know they even existed. And so I was just all about whatever I did in person. And so I would record these videos. They would either get blocked or in certain regions or blocked altogether. And it
Yep.
was so frustrating. I remember connecting with a few other creators at the time who were doing the same. And one gentleman who had since years ago stopped, which I wish he wouldn't have, but he was doing really well. I think he was like 14,000 subscribers,
Wow.
and so he's like, I have so many videos that never saw the light of day because YouTube blocked them,
Yep. Yep.
and for those of you who are listening, they block because of copyright content,
Yep.
uh, the creators, the licensing, the music, owners of the music, kind of all of the above. And so what we have to do is pay for it. But my rebellion was, well, nobody knows this music and I don't even know the music. Like, how am I going to write? How am I going to be, somebody who follows music? Because we share, one of the things that we share is we like to ride to the rhythm. We like to find the drops. We like to map out music to make it make sense for our rides. And so I was like, I don't even know this music. I don't know that artist. No, I'm not going to do that. And it just kept, weeks would go by and then I would test another video that had mainstream music. Oh, it didn't get blocked. Let me upload that one. And it just didn't work out for me.
Right.
Fast forward. And now, I talked to you offline the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, it's crazy because there's videos that I have mainstream music that we paid for, like an NF, and I have an Evanescence one coming out.
Oh, yes. I love
It's going to
Evanescence.
be so good. And what's crazy is the music that is less known on those videos get more views than the ones that I would have assumed an NF, a Tiesto, a 80s, whatever, they get more views. And I'm like, what is going on? Like it keeps proving me wrong. I know that there's probably other reasons behind that, and not all of them are like that. But I'm curious. We wanted to chat about this. Tell me a little bit about
Yes.
what what you know, what you think, what you've learned.
Gosh. Licensing has come such a long way. I used to be a wedding photographer once upon a many years ago. And I remember hearing from one of my mentors that video was a new thing. At the time, there wasn't music subscriptions like there are now where you could subscribe, pay like 10, $20 a month, and you get unlimited access to royalty-free music. At that time, licensing a song was $60.
It's
So you got
crazy.
to figure, if I make a ride with 10 songs that are not even mainstream and they're $60 a pop, that ride is costing $600 just on music to create. So music for me was a huge barrier to entry. Back in COVID, I used to do YouTube, like I used to do virtual rides on Zoom with like real music because it was the only platform that would not block me.
Yeah.
And it was, I wish that I would have known then what I know now, but at the same time, I just felt so blocked by not knowing what to play and not wanting my videos to get copyrighted or flagged that I just never even, first of all, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even want to do it. It was so far from my radar. But even as it came into my radar with meeting you, because you were actually the first cycle YouTuber that I met, I was like, geez, what do I do about music?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do about music. Like, there's licensing and I want to play real music, but I can't because I don't want my videos to get taken down or demonetized in the future. I don't want to do all this work and then it go to waste. So that was like a really, really, really big barrier to entry. And if you're in my channel, there's only one ride that I didn't pay licensing for because I have another channel that's monetized. And I went and I looked at the songs that were called revenue share. That means that the artist has permitted you to use their songs, and whatever money you do make from advertisement gets distributed evenly with all the artists. So
Yes.
if there's like 10 different artists, it gets divided like 11 different ways. So I'm 1/11 of that revenue plus whatever YouTube takes. So it's nothing essentially for me. But I was like, cool, I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna download some Subtronics, Excision, and Woolly music, and I'm gonna do a bass ride because I love bass EDM, that super gritty headbanging music.
Yeah.
And I did that. And it has a copyright on it, but it's not been muted anywhere. That's the only one. If you're in my channel and you hear like Bruno Mars, or you hear Evanescence, or you hear Stained, or you hear mainstream music, I've literally not only paid for the subscription to have the right to use that music, but then like $8 a license. So
Yes.
some of these rides cost me about $100 to make. But I am someone who, as I mentioned earlier, quality is very important to me. Even in my in-person classes, and this is where maybe I differ from a lot of instructors, I am feeling first and then the workout. I want you to feel something first and then I figure out what workout needs to go with it. Whereas some other instructors are like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you want to have an effective workout and you want to do it this way, and then we piece the music into it. I'm like, no, I am taking you through a journey along the way, and I find music and then I look at the BPMs, I kind of put it all together, and then I make the workout. That's how I roll. So for me, it's about the energy. So when I'm looking at the licenses and the music, and that's why I don't mind, that's why my other job pays for this, because I want to bring something that I feel proud of, that I would play in a class, that I would play for reals, like something that's going to take us through a journey and a feeling. So that's my whole spiel on licenses.
No, I love it. I love it. And again, I was pulling up kind of like a list of different websites, and there's not really a need for me to say them, I guess. I don't know, but it does create, somewhat of a challenge. And I want to be clear with everybody who's listening. You're investing with little to no return at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that people need to know, that we invest. I would say with your equipment, what you've done, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars already into something that yields. It's like not a good business plan to start with, right? It's like
terrible.
We've all invested, and we keep investing because we believe in what we do, and that's why you got to, subscribe to our channel, and we got to get our monetized.
So kind.
We got to get Anna. So here's YouTube guidelines. We need 4,000 watch hours and we need 1,000 subs. That's what we need to get Anna to. So
Thank
please
you.
subscribe,
You're
please.
so kind.
Definitely we need Anna on the map. We need Anna to stay on YouTube is what really is what we need for sure. Yeah.
I don't have any plans of going anywhere anytime soon necessarily. I love what I do. Fitness, this was the unexpected career path that absolutely has lit up my life. I didn't think I'd fall in love with indoor cycling as much as I did. And until my body can totally keep moving and doing this, like I don't plan to stop.
I love it.
And I've
I
always
love it.
said it, the day that I no longer want to learn or grow is going to be the day that I stop teaching
Yeah.
because it doesn't help anybody else. So, going on that money situation, like thousands of dollars, thousands
Yes.
is the
Yes.
investment. I mean, this
Yes.
bike alone cost me a grand and I bought it used. So,
Yes.
there we
Yeah.
go.
The Stages bike is closer to $3,000 brand new,
Like, yeah, these
for
are,
sure.
they're like the best of the best bikes. And I
Yes.
always wanted a Stages bike. So, I found it as an excuse to get myself one.
Yes. I love it. I love it. There's so much, I mean, that we can go into that, but I want to
I'm
talk
in
about,
it. If you want to keep going, I'm here.
yeah.
I love talking.
No, I mean, we could totally talk all day, and I still have a few things that I want
Yeah.
to talk about. But yeah, I people should know though, to your point, they should know what the investment that we're making, right? And really, if you're not passionate, if that doesn't say I'm passionate about it, I keep spending money and getting nothing back, then then come on, hello, right? And I love we need to get you monetized. Here's what I want to
Thank
talk
you.
about. Why, and this could be, I don't know. I just want your honest thoughts.
Mhm.
In person, cycling in general, we have seen a little bit of a downtick, if you will, in our industry and specifically indoor cycling. Talk to me about why you think that is and why people like you and I have to keep it alive.
This is such a tricky question. There's a lot of things happening. I've seen a lot of different answers. The mainstream answers, people are moving more towards things like Pilates and mobility and slower, less impact workouts. Some people, so indoor cycling was started back in the 90s so that outdoor riders could ride inside during terrible weather. That was how it got started. And what's happened throughout the time that it's been a class or something that you could participate in, it's almost moved away from its original purpose to become something that I guess the 90s instructors would just never think that indoor cycling is. And it's not a bad thing. But a lot of the fast out of the saddle choreography, those types of classes tend to alienate the original riders or the older riders who are the people that want to take these classes for knee injuries or riding outside. So there's a lot of things, like I can't even keep up with some of it. And I teach rhythm cycling. There's been a lot of that. Some people don't want to be in dark rooms with loud music. They're really turned off by that. Some people are just bored. They think it's the same workout every single time. Some people think that the instructors just put together a BS playlist and they're like, I don't like the music. Like one day it's going to be really great and then the next day it's terrible. Like I don't want to go back. Some people are like, yep, I like having my bike right there and I'm going to go do a YouTube video. So I've seen a lot of different things. It boils down to the format changing. The instructors really just, I hate to say this, but like kind of BSing their classes. Like they're just putting something together 5 minutes before class and it's obvious. It's always obvious.
Yes.
And number three, like people are moving towards home workouts. So those are the things that I've seen. And even just at Lifetime, like it's this, even though we have those three different formats that cater to the different types of people, like I still feel like they've just been hurt by all the different changes and COVID didn't help. So those are some of my thoughts and things that I've actually seen because I put out a poll on TikTok and Instagram about this specifically. And it makes me sad. And I plan to die on this hill. This is the hill I'm choosing to die on. I'm going to keep this going.
Yeah, no, and I'm on the same hill as you are. I think we've weathered part of the storm.
Yeah.
I think there is a resurgence, ish, if you will. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think that we can trace back an initial collapse of all in person working out to the COVID time that we went through. Then coming back, and then there being trends, right? The
Right.
trends of strength and mobility. To your point, is huge, and people's their cadence changed, their scheduling changed, their habits changed, the varieties changed. There's
Yeah.
so much that happened. Initially, everybody was saying Peloton, Peloton, and I'm like, well, maybe it took a little bit of a chunk, but not everybody spent two or
Right.
$3,000 on a bike. Let's not give them that much credit, right? But there's definitely they did a great job, and they're
Yeah.
continuing to do a great job, and I respect their instructors. I do agree with the fact that there are um, subpar instructors that don't do it such a great job with it, and that doesn't help our cause at all. Um, Meaning, to your point earlier, they will kind of just play whatever, do whatever. We're gonna do, a couple of Tabatas. We're gonna do a few sprints. And nothing kind of makes sense. The music doesn't match. The energy doesn't flow. All of the above. In fact, I have this internal thing, and I think Aunt Emily Booth kind of implanted this into my brain. Which, Emily, thank you for everything. You invested so much into me. I look up to you. I love you so much. You're so great. She said anybody can teach a hard class, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that let's just do intervals. Let's do Tabatas. Let's do whatever. As it relates to something high intensity, and people can sweat. And you might get people afterwards that say that was a hard class. And yeah, I feel like almost anybody can do that. With the right music and a few interval sets. But what did it make sense, right? What did we actually accomplish during that class? Like what meaning did it have? Did you learn anything new? Did you challenge your body in a different way? And so one of the things that when somebody tells me after class, hey, that was so hard, I'm just like, my mind goes in a million different directions. Was it hard because I just gave them a bunch of intervals, or was it hard because we peaked at a certain point and we held certain places? Did they understand what I was trying to, like, I have all these like
Yeah.
psychotic things that go through my head because I want it
Yeah.
to be meaningful, right? I want it to matter. And so I'll push back a little bit, and I'll be like, well, what do you think was hard about it? Or what, try to pick their brain a little bit so that they have so there's potentially a deeper meaning behind what we did besides it just being hard, right? And I might be a little overzealous with when people they say that, man, what do you mean by that? But all that to say is, I also feel like there isn't the support of the corporations anymore, like there should be, right?
Nope.
I feel like they've allowed it to die quietly in the background. And not made the investment that they need to make. And I'll leave names out, right?
Yeah.
But there's no investment in new technology. There's no investment in true, to your point earlier, something that would appeal to a wider audience. There's not an upkeep like they're used. It's almost like the person that doesn't want to buy a new couch, and you walk into their house and they love the couch because it's already molded to their butt. They've sat in it so long. But everybody else is
Yeah.
like, they walk into your house and
It's
they're like, it
terrible.
kind of smells like their rear end a little. You know what I mean? Like it's all,
Yeah.
it's deformed, right? But they love it and they don't want to change it because that's the couch
Right.
they've always watched Netflix in or whatever. And so, but there's no investment there. And we both know that where would Apple be if they never came out with the second iPod and the
Right.
second iPhone and the third? And now we're at 16 or 17, generations of an iPhone. They would have died a long time ago if they don't upgrade
Yes.
every year, right?
Yeah.
And
And just move forward.
yeah, move forward. And there is technology out there. One of the things that I started using was on my channel is Intelligent Cycle, the Mel, and I love what that does for visuals and
Yes.
metrics and all that stuff. It just gives us more of a variety. But you and I and all the people that we mentioned earlier, we're gonna keep this thing rocking, right? We're gonna keep
Yes.
people healthy on a bike and keep it moving. But I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit about
Yeah.
the, it makes me sad when I hear that another club, sold their bikes and changed
Yep.
whatever. I get the business side of it, but there was no investment either to keep things
Oh,
up to date,
100%.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen most recently at a place that I worked at, and it was devastating because we had a really, really great group of people in our classes, and the corporate decision to get rid of it to incorporate another boutique style class, and I understand it. They want, it would bring in more money. I get it.
Yeah.
However, when I look at the layout of some of those clubs, I'm like, we don't need like half of the club to be AstroTurf. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? We could
Yeah.
allocate the space a little bit differently and still be able to maintain these bikes, or if we just something else. But they just don't see the value in it. And it really makes me sad because we're basically saying that those people who were invested so many years of their lives coming to these classes, like they just don't matter. And that makes me sad.
Yeah.
So that was another reason why I was super urgent to start my channel last year, is because when I had such a big following at that last place of work and they were getting rid of Cycle, and I had all these people who are like, I miss your classes. I miss your energy. I miss your music. I miss you. And I'm like, look, I'm making a YouTube channel. Like, all you have to do is find
Let's
a bike
go.
and I
Yeah.
got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it makes me sad. And I wanted to circle back kind of a little bit off what you just said. Emily Booth's podcast was the bomb. So y'all, if you're listening, go back to season 1 and listen to it, because I know Emily Booth as well. I work with her. She is incredible. She taught me so many things. So like I mentioned before, I'm all music and then figure out the workout. So you could say that I'm one of those, those instructors that's like, wait, that didn't really make sense. But I'm like, but did you feel good? She taught me a lot more about how to make things make sense and organize a little bit better my classes. So what I am now is not only a compilation of everything that I've done to this point, but just having that education that this company Lifetime invests into their instructors. And that's something that I wish that all places offered, because I literally was on my own for like 5 years. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know BPMs. I was just putting things in order by what I
Sure.
thought sounded great. And that was the workout, and with
Yeah.
no real rhyme or reason. So yeah, investing is such an important thing. And going back to those instructors that we like casually named subpar. I mean, you're not subpar. You just probably don't have the education. And it's just about being a little bit more mindful about what you're doing. If you've got literally 10 songs and 6 of them are jumps, that's going to take a toll on your rider's knees. I've been to that class before, and I can tell that you put in the music and you on the spot were trying to put it together and you just didn't know what to do. So you were coming back to what was comfortable. I've also been to the class where it was like 60% tap backs. My butt was sore by the end of it from tapping that dang saddle so much. I'm like, if I have to do another tap back, I'm going to throw my shoe at this instructor. But it's that same thing. It's just taking a little bit more time. And that's something that I'm diving into, is trying to help instructors with music and how to put a bomb class together, and then how to make it not be an hour of tap backs.
Yeah.
So to
I'm really
speak.
looking forward to, you had mentioned too offline. I get all the insider information here.
Yeah, because we're
Your friend,
friends. We get to talk all the
yeah,
time.
it's so cool. You had mentioned you're putting together a course on musicality. I'm super looking forward to that. Please let me know when you get done with that, and so I can help promote that. I do
Thank
not
you. You're so
post
nice.
not on mine, yeah, about musicality, because it is super important. I'll say a couple of things in regards to this, what we're talking about
Yeah.
here. Music matters. We know this, right? And I think that
100%.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this. When a company doesn't invest into, and I'm not talking about ours, certainly, I'm just saying in general, and anything that you're in, when somebody doesn't invest into what they do or not invested into, but they're passionate about it, at some point they start making up their own way to do it. And that could either go really good or really bad, right? I
Right.
could either go, I really went sideways. I got so far off track because nobody ever kept me on track or nobody gave me anything fresh, or I had to innovate and it came out even better, and we're keeping this engine running, right? And not that you and I, maybe one day, but not that you and I have the power to keep, the engine running at any of these places that we wish would. But the investment really goes a long way. But that's why we're making courses, right? That's why we're doing our part in the space to help out, and to do what we can to keep the thing going, right? I
Yes.
mean, that's where we're at. So talk to me a little bit about a couple of things before we finish.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know a little bit more about feeling first, and then how you put together your class. And I know this can get to be a longer conversation, but give me like a 30,000 foot perspective of how you would put together a class, what you want to happen, and why what led to that particular. Because I love all the posts you put. You give me
Oh
your
my God.
cameras. You're
If
talking about we're doing this type of ride.
I think if Emily Booth were listening to this, she would be like, "Girl, what are you doing?" But there is a reason to my madness. Nobody remembers how you start, everybody remembers how you finish.
Let's go.
That's number one, right? Like your warm up, maybe you might have that 1 or 2% that's like, your warm up song was terrible. But 90% or 99, not going to remember how you started. They're going to remember how you finished the workout. And if you finish the workout on a high, you built that energy, you built that momentum, you worked hard, whatever it is. When you're done, they're going to be like, damn, that was a great class.
Yeah.
So the way that I like to do it is I find my music, and I find music that makes sense. I will put maybe 2 to 3 genres in a playlist. Usually my preferred genres that I feel work really well are going to be Latin music, EDM, and maybe pop or hip hop, kind of in that one. It's either pop or hip hop.
Now,
Like
quick
2 or
question.
3.
When
Yeah.
you say pick music that makes sense, what do you mean by that for our
Okay.
listeners?
So I'm glad that you specified that. What I mean makes sense is that they have like a similar flow, a similar sound. So if I start with pop, for example, I'm going to put maybe 2 to 3 to 4 songs maybe in pop. I have something called transition music. What transition music is, it blends what I think is 2 genres, either by sound or by artist. And for example, a really great transition artist is Pitbull. Pitbull speaks Spanish. He sings in Spanish, but he's kind of pop, kind of EDM. So if you're trying to figure out how to marry 2 different genres in a way that like it transitions in a way that feels good or natural, at least to me, I'm going to put a transition song in between those 2 genres.
Okay.
So I might pick a Pitbull song to go between pop into Latin, and I might choose a song where he sings in English and in Spanish. So now I'm introducing Latin music. And then I'll put like a block of Latin music. And then to transition it, usually I like to finish with EDM because that has the highest bang energy. Okay. When I do that, I'll find a transition song. And I've got so many of them that are like Latin EDM songs. So I'll have like somebody singing in Spanish with EDM. And then now I've transitioned into EDM. Okay. When I'm looking at this, the genres, how I'm putting them together is what songs have the most energy. And I don't mean that as like a metric or a BPM. I mean, when I listen to the song, do I feel like I'm going to get up and dance? Do I feel like, okay, this is kind of mellow, I'm building into something? And I will organize them with the most energetic ones finishing towards the end and the more calmer ones starting in the beginning. Sometimes I'll also do like peaks and valleys. So like I'll have one genre that builds and then we come down in energy. Then we build again, come down. And then that last peak is going to be like a really intense peak. Then when I'm looking at how I put the workout together, I want to make sure, at least this is more now than it was when I started. I want to make sure that I've got some seated, some standing, that I'm giving you some variety, that your butt's not going to hurt because you're in the saddle for 20 minutes at a time, or that your quads aren't going to be on fire because we did 10 minutes straight of nothing but die hard strength intervals, or, your backside hurts because we did like 100 different sprints all together. I like to add some variety so that people feel like, okay, it wasn't too much of this and it wasn't too much of that. It was just the right amount of movement. We had some different cadences. So we worked kind of more of an endurance pace, which would be, this is getting technical, 80 to like 100 RPMs. That kind of like, I'm going from what feels comfortable to slightly uncomfortable in speed. So I'm going to consider that. Then with speed, it's like, now I'm really uncomfortable in speed. Like I'm not comfortable anymore. I'm really moving my legs. And then the slow and heavy is going to be like, okay, I'm really firing up my quads. I'm really firing up my hamstrings with that pedal stroke. So I try to vary them in there. If I'm doing something on YouTube where I have a little bit more flexibility, I might throw in some choreography for some upper body movement to make it feel like a full body workout in that whole space. Also to break up the monotony of just doing too much of one thing or too much of another.
Sure. There's a
That
lot
was
there.
Anna's way. That was Anna's way of putting together a class.
No, I love it. I like to just gather. So Spotify will start suggesting things, as you
Oh,
follow
yes.
artists and all that.
Oh, yes.
Their new release Friday, kind of
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Yep.
And I like to take what it recommends, or even at the bottom of a playlist, as you know, there'll be,
Yep.
hey, this would go good in that
Oh,
playlist.
yeah.
Not in this one, but another one, and then you start
Right.
building another one. And so I'll just collect. I'm like a collector of music.
Same.
And it doesn't matter what genre. Sometimes they kind of all end up being closer to like 80% EDM or maybe half
Mhm.
rock, or I don't focus so much on a balance. Maybe I should, but I just more focus on what songs have I collected, and to your point, makes sense to put in a class, right? What kind of
Right.
energy do they have? What can I do with this song? What does this song say to me? And I know
Right.
that might be weird for people to hear us say that, but songs
Mhm.
in what we do speak to us, and they say, yeah, I would do this based on the
Mhm.
BPM, based on the energy, based on the song structure, based on how many choruses this song has, beat drops, whatever it might be. We start mapping things in our head, and there's a lot that goes into it. So if you're listening to this, like, we think through all of this stuff, right? And we want the best possible outcome. It's like I'll tell my class a lot, even online. I'll say sometimes, developing a new class takes time, because I need to
Yes.
let it simmer for a while. I need to put a few things in there, and then I turn up the fire once I'm ready to cook it, and then this beautiful
Mhm.
thing comes out. And it doesn't always happen overnight. And so, in fact, I don't think it ever happens overnight. That would be like a rarity that everything just falls into place, right? So how do you navigate? And here's where I want to go. So I want to do two more things. I want you to talk to me about navigating what the outcome of your in person and in online classes, like how you what you want the outcome to be, and how that does and doesn't matter, and I'll explain that here in a moment. And then I want you to finish with the story that, and I know you probably have 100 of them. We all do. That just something maybe recent or something that's happened that you'll never forget the time when type of story. But before we get
Oh,
there,
goodness.
what's when it comes to outcome, and
Yes.
let me just we put a little context around this.
Yeah.
We put together a class, and we know that, hey, I'm going to do a couple of different challenges here. One might be stamina, one might be movement, one might be climbing, one might be speed or whatever. And we have
Mhm.
an idea in our mind of
Yep.
how we want to lead it. We organize the music for that to happen. How does that translate to you when you teach online or in person? Uh, or what balance do you find? Let me say it that way. In saying, this is today's ride, this is the purpose of it, while simultaneously knowing that there are a few people who are just going to ride because they want to ride, other people are going to follow exactly what you want because they want the programming, and other people who are kind of somewhere in between who might be able to. And I don't know, I hope I'm not over explaining this, but you want them to fill the plan. That might not always happen. You want to give them permission, but at the same time, you don't want to be so loosey goosey that they don't get anything out of it. Am
Yeah.
I making sense at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I am probably one of the more chill coaches that you'll meet. And I'm like
Okay.
this in person too. I'm like, hey, you showed up. It's your workout. If you want to mess around and not do the workout, that's a decision that you made. I cannot force you to add resistance. I cannot force you to go fast. I cannot force you to do anything. And I try not to hold that expectation in my class. I'm like, hey, this is your workout. Do what feels good. Do what feels right. If you want to follow it, great. If you don't, totally fine. But if you didn't follow it and you feel like my class was not hard enough, that is no longer on me. That's on you. So I have a very kind of loosey-goosey coaching style. You should see my AMP classes. My AMP classes are like, I'm like, whatever, let's just go. If we look like popcorn, I know that Emily would be like, no, they're not supposed to look like popcorn. But I'm like, you know what? Are you having fun? Are you moving? Are you challenging yourself in a new way? Because most of these classes, you find a challenge somewhere. Maybe the challenge was today was a zone 2 day for you. And for those of you that don't know what zone 2 is, it's one of the lower heart rate zones. It's very boring. It's breathy, but you can still kind of have a conversation. It's kind of like you're not really going slow, but you're not going fast. You're kind of like in this place of like, just this is boring. Yeah. If that's where you want to be today, amazing. If you want to work all in and go all into the death, fine. It's your day. It's your workout. I don't know what you did yesterday. I don't know what you're going to do tomorrow. But the minimum for me is like, I want to challenge you at a minimum, if it is a rhythm-based class, to find the beat. That's the minimum. And if you don't want to do choreography with me, amazing. Do me a favor and add some resistance and hold the beat. Strengthen your legs. Just sharpen your ears. Amazing. For Edge, which is one of our formats at Lifetime, which is interval-based music-driven class, like I'm going to give you my plan. I've currently, since I started, been on a huge endurance stamina kick because that's something that is hugely lacking in my own personal training and is something that I want to develop. So I've been doing a lot of like stamina endurance pieces in my workouts, but sometimes people just want to stand. Nobody wants to be seated for 9 minutes. Like it's a lot. I get it. And for me, that's totally fine. I'm going to meet you where you're at. Now, there's other instructors who that is not okay, and they do not hesitate to try to correct and offer that to their instructors. But for me, I want it to be a safe place for you to come in and move your body, hopefully like the music that I'm playing, get a few giggles out of my weird monologues, and just walk out and come back. That's me. And online, same thing. Like if you don't want to do the push-ups or you're like, no, I do not want to do a 9 out of 10 on my endurance. I mean, on my resistance today. I'm at a 6 because I smoked my quads yesterday doing squats. Totally fine. Totally fine. You'll come back next time and it'll be different. Your body will feel different. You will do something different. You hopefully will challenge yourself in a new way and get a result out of your work. And if you're not getting results, then talk to me and then we can figure something out.
Sure. I like that. I'm probably a little more on the strict side of things. And what I mean by that, and I totally, it should be a safe place, and it is, right? We want people to do what they can do, and we understand that there are limitations. We understand that maybe they worked out, they're coming back, they're deconditioned, they're doing some kind of recovery, whatever that might be. There's a lot of that, right? But I think, for me, I so love what cycling does when you do certain things that I have to hold back my, why are you not doing this? And I'm learning, and I've softened up over the years, especially after I did my first podcast with Rachel. She kind of like changed me a little bit, such as you're doing here. Not all the way, because I'm still gonna.
That's okay. But you got to do what makes you. That's the most important.
But I am more aware of the fact that there should be a little more wiggle room, if you will, than I have probably historically given. Because whether we like it or not, the wiggle room, people take it anyway, right? Like I have somebody, and I'll get back to what I'm saying here, but I have somebody that takes my online classes. And they say, hey, I rode to your class today because I was just listening to the beat. And I'm like, you weren't even on a bike. Like, what is going on? But it's super cool because they still made the workout theirs. And I was like, man, I gotta rethink some of this. But I I think one of the things, and here's where I push back a little bit.
Okay.
I see people doing the same thing over and over and
Yep.
over and over again.
Yep.
And I intentionally when I do the opposite in class, I point out why it's so beneficial. And here's what I see a lot. I see people that feel like if they don't have a ton of resistance on and they're not climbing the whole time, just, that they didn't get a workout. And they refuse to go higher cadence. And I'm not talking like the crazy stuff we see online, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, to your point earlier, some stamina efforts, 80s, 90s, 100s, something that still gets your heart rate up, but doesn't burn out the legs, right? Doesn't do everything you do if you're just constantly climbing the whole time. And I guess that is one of my, I don't want to call it pet peeve, but it is something that I just wish I do anything I can for people to understand. Like you could accomplish the same output, the same workout, the same heart rate in a different way. Follow me today, and I'll say things like, hey, we'll stay in a high cadence for like a whole block of work, like 3 tracks, like 80s, 90s, 100s, and everybody ends at like, oh, they're breathing heavy. I'm like, you hear that? You hear that? Slower, heavier. People who, and I'll kind of exaggerate, like, you don't have to do that. And I'll, in a loving way, say, I don't want you to burn out your legs. If you're somebody who does this, please, like, give this a shot. So I don't know. I struggle with that. So
I will say some quirky things when people are just making poor choices. I'm like, look, we got 15 minutes of work. We're going to be working all 15 in the stamina block. I'm like, if you go all in now in the first 15 seconds and you burn out, the next 14 minutes and 45 seconds, you are going to be hating your life.
Yeah.
Period. Make good choices.
Yeah.
Manage your energy.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're saying
what I'm
the same thing in a different way. Yeah.
I do, but I like to, and this is really evident in GTX because I teach, it's a strength cardio style class that we have at Lifetime. I call myself the warm hugs coach, right? Like we have some coaches that are they're very good at progressing people, but sometimes members don't like that. And of course, there's going to be some members that want to be pushed and maybe my style is not for them. But I do get a lot of women who come into my class and they're like, I like your class because you don't make me do things that I'm not capable of doing or I'm not comfortable doing this yet. Like you help me, you push me, but I still get to move and not feel like I have to do something I'm not ready to do yet. And that's why I keep coming back to your class. And none of them have complained that in the last a year and a half that I didn't help them achieve a goal.
Sure.
They keep showing up regularly. They're moving their bodies. I see progressions. Maybe it's not as fast as us coaches would like to see for the amount of time invested, but I see someone who couldn't do squats before go to quarter squats, go to half squats, go to below parallel. Just because I didn't tell them from day one, like, you need to go to parallel. No, I'm like, okay, you can't do squats? Great. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do a leg raise instead and hold the weight here. It's still going to work your quads. You're not blowing out your knees. Great. I've got this option for you. And then they start getting more comfortable. And the more I get to know them, then I can push them. I'm like, okay, look, you've been coming to my class now for a year. You've been grabbing the same weights. You can do this. You are making it look too easy. Time to level up. And I'll put a weight and I'll put it in front of them. And I'm like, here you go. I don't expect you to lift this, but it's here if you want it. If you want to challenge yourself, here it is. And for cycling, most of those people, most of my regulars, they are doing what they need to do. And some days they're laying off and they're really bouncy. And I'm like, hey, add resistance. You should not be bouncing in the saddle. And they don't listen. And that's fine. And then the next day they come in and they actually listen. Yeah. And one of the greatest testaments to, I guess, my coaching style is, like I said, I'm pretty laid back, but I had a girl come in. She's like, I can climb all the stairs at Red Rocks because of your classes. She's like, I couldn't do it before I started taking your classes. And now I can go. And it's like over 300 steps, you guys. It's a lot. If you've never seen Red Rocks, Google it. There's a lot of stairs. She's like, because of your class, it's like, I can do that. And she loves going to concerts and she felt great. I had another gal tell me that somebody complimented her legs and because she does cycling with me. I never once told either of those two women to add more resistance. I let them know, I'm like, if this feels good, do it. This doesn't feel good. Here's your option. And they push themselves. Most people know how to self-manage. And the ones that are just there and not listening because they think they know better, 9 times out of 10, they're not coming back. And that's okay. That's fine. It's not their vibe. And I'm okay with that.
And it almost sounds like we all want the same thing. We just get there in different ways with our coaching styles, right? And that's what makes us us. Yeah.
Can you imagine how boring this world would be if you and I taught the same way? Like, you have the most beautiful podcast voice. Like, I'm mesmerized every time I listen to your videos, every time I listen to your podcast. I'm like, holy cow, you have the best voice and tonality. And I love your videos on YouTube because you teach in a way that I don't teach. I like all forms of cycle. I like most rhythm classes when I feel that I can do the workout. When it's out of my reach and I can't and I feel left out, I don't want to do it. But I like all types. Sometimes I like to dance on a bike. Sometimes I like intervals. Sometimes I like classes that have no rhyme or reason. We're just going to work hard. Cool. I like that too. I don't like classes that make me do the same movement for an hour though. Like that, I just kind of like, okay. Sure. But you offer something that I don't offer. You have I don't want to say that you're calming, but you are. You have this personality that puts me at ease, and you're serious in a way that makes me feel like I'm learning from an athlete who's done these huge challenges before. The way that you explain the science, the physiology, all of it. I'm like, wow, I'm learning something. He knows his stuff. Like, if I didn't know you, I'm like, you probably did races. Like, maybe you did the Leadville 100 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of vibe that you give out. And I don't give that vibe out, but I like it. And if we were the same, how boring would that be? Not everybody wants to ride to my crazy shenanigans, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's good. No, I appreciate that. That's super meaningful. You started to share a couple of stories. One
Sounds like
being
me.
the Red Rocks. Is there any other story? And I know we could probably keep going, but to kind of wrap things up, talk to me about something, that is on the top of your mind right now about somebody, something, somewhere that you didn't see coming, but their life was deeply impacted by Anna.
When I left my last gym, Vasa, I left because I was hired at Lifetime, and it was time to go. You know, when you feel that change happening, it was time to go. And in my last class, she was crying the whole class. The whole class. And she's like, you have no idea what the last 4 years of riding with you have done for me. She went through a separation, very difficult divorce, and all of that. And she had some life stuff happen, and she was in tears. She's like, I'm going to miss you so much. You changed my life. Literally, this girl, I made a birthday playlist for her that she requested. It was a themed ride. It was Guardians of the Galaxy. And she literally put off a date to come to my class. Like, that never happens or doesn't happen very often. And these beautiful humans that I've had the incredible pleasure of instructing for, these people have changed my life in a way that I never saw coming. They were there for me when my dad had a stroke and my cat was dying of cancer, literally all at the same time. I was falling apart. They are the ones who held me up during the most difficult 2 years of my life. Like, I have so much gratitude for all of the members that have walked in through my doors, the ones that liked me, the ones that loved me, and the ones that were like, this girl's not for me. Like, I've learned something from everybody. And my closest relationships in Colorado have been from the people that have walked through my doors, that have stayed, that have participated, that I've gotten to know, that we've just fell in love with each other in a way that, like, a true friendship flourishes. Yeah. And that's something that I'm hoping to keep growing at Lifetime, because I'm so new still. But it's been a journey that has taken me to places that I never expected. And I love it so much.
That's so cool. So cool. We could totally keep talking forever about this, because it's so meaningful to us. Yeah. But we're definitely going to do another episode at some point, because I just thought of like 10 other things that I would love to talk about. Yeah.
And we need to do our team ride, because we live in the same state.
Yeah, we're 1,000% gonna do that. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time.
Of
I want to
course.
thank you for your
Of
talent.
course.
I want to thank you for you and Adam being so generous to me and my
Of course.
channel and sharing your knowledge, sharing. I'll get random text from you. Hey, did you know this happened? Hey, try this out. Or hey, like I love that, and I'm so grateful. I love that we get
Or
to
most
share.
recently, "Hey, I think this song might work for your faith-based rights."
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that. Um, please don't ever stop doing that
I won't.
because
I
we're
won't.
going to continue to share, ideas and things that we think work and all of the above. And I just want to say that I respect you guys so much, and I know your heart. I've gotten a chance to meet and had you at our house, eat dinner with us, like all of the above. You're the real deal. You're the real deal, and I'm very honored to know you and to have you on this season. Season 2, episode 1. Good stuff.
I
Stuff.
I am so this has been such a fun experience. This is my first podcast. Nobody has ever thought that I had, like, so much to say that they wanted me on their podcast, so this has been super, super wonderful. Thank you for inviting me. Joe,
Yes.
likewise, you were there on my first GTX class at Lifetime, and
Yeah, it's how we met. By the way, we didn't talk about that.
yes, little did I know that the person with the amazing personality is super sweet, and really, for being in management or just somebody who'd worked there for so long, you sometimes get people who are like, yeah, I worked here for so long, and they kind of make you feel like you're this big. You never ever made me feel that way. You made me feel like I was the one in charge and you were there to help me, even though you're a lead and in a managerial position. That really stuck with me. And I came home to Adam and I was like, I had the coolest guy helping me in GTX today, and his name is Joe. And then that kind of went away. And then I ran into a YouTube video that was Joe's because I was looking for something on BPMs. And I was like, Edge. I'm like, this guy works for Lifetime. And then I was like, Joe. And I was like, wait, that's the guy that helped me in my class. I'm like, holy crap, he's got a YouTube channel. And then, like, I went on your Instagram and I was like, hey, do you remember me?
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but yeah, when you helped open up Lifetime Denver West and they hired you, which I'm so glad they did. I went over there. They sent a few of us over there to help support
Yeah,
during the opening, and that's where we met. So it was meant to be for sure.
totally.
And what a small world, and at the same time, just a divine encounter, if you will. Super,
It
super,
was.
super amazing. So thank you, Anna. We're gonna do this again. So
I'm so excited. Thank you so
yeah,
much for this opportunity. I've said it a million times. I really mean it. Gosh, I can't wait to hear all the podcasts that you have coming out. Your podcast is just so good. So I hope
thank
you don't
you.
ever stop.
Thank you. I plan to keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing this thing together. So, everybody, make sure you subscribe to her channel. We said it early on. I'm saying it again. We need all the support because we want to change the world and we want to continue to help people just like you who are listening to this podcast right now. So we will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.